For more on Iraq's parliamentary election, we're joined once again by Michael Wahid Hanna. He's a specialist on Iraq and a fellow at the Century Foundation right here in New York. Good to see you again. Thank you very much for being with us. So we just saw this spot which looks at the concerns that ordinary Iraqis have about their future, especially when it comes to basic services. What are their greatest worries going forward, and why are we still hearing stories about people not getting basic services?
Well, for a long time, people have been worried about surviving, and security has been at the top of everybody's agenda. And obviously, as security has improved, and it's markedly improved in the past 2 years, then these other issues and priorities have come to the fore. And so electricity is still not universal throughout Baghdad and many other places. And so there is a crying need for better delivery of services. And so governance is now an issue in these elections. And as they were last year, they were beginning to emerge. And the concerns of ordinary people are on the delivery of services, and very basic necessities of life have now become something that animates political discourse. Beyond just security. Is
there anything about the Iraq story that you think is perhaps missing from the mainstream coverage?
Well, I mean, the story itself is missing. I mean, there are 96,000 American troops there, and just this weekend was the first sort of glimpse at Iraq as a major issue. And that's surprising. And it's not wholly bad. It means that security has improved to a degree that people's attention has moved elsewhere. I mean, the Hurt Locker yesterday was an Iraq-related story that got much more attention than the elections. And as I say, that's a reflection of better security. But it's still surprising the degree to which it has faded from popular attention.
And how do you think that the election is playing out in other parts of the Arab Muslim world? Is it likely that citizens in those countries feel, or their leaders think, that there's greater political participation awaiting them sometime in the near future, or
well, it's a difficult story for Arab autocrats to have to deal with right next door. But it's also very complicated because of the genesis of this Iraqi order. It was ushered in by a U.S. Invasion and occupation that has aroused a lot of mixed emotions among people in the Arab world. And obviously, there are the questions about a Shiite-led government and its ties to Iran that's very uncomfortable for the Sunni Arab world, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt. So it's a very complicated picture. But at the same time, seeing people vote, and people did vote, and that's an important thing in and of itself. It's hard to parse all those things and come out with a very coherent picture. But people definitely were paying attention.
Right. And what is your sense, sort of going into the future, that the Iraqi government will be able to fend for itself? I mean, once the remaining American troops actually withdraw?
Well, yesterday was encouraging. I mean, it showed something of the validity of the new emerging security framework, with Iraqis taking the lead and Americans very much in the background and only filling gaps when and if asked. And the asks were not that common yesterday. And Iraqis were the main face on ensuring that yesterday's vote went off without major security problems.
Okay, Michael Wahid Hanna, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks very much.